It appears that D-Magic Orbital Science has lost Tamanthi Kerman in orbit of Minmus. And what is up here on top is our M700 survey scanner. That's what's going to be doing our scanning, so we're going to drop that off. It looks cool, but actually it's not very functional. Oops, look. Looks like we're going to pick up the Grumpf bug, which was not as intended. I think Jeb probably fell asleep on the stick. There we go. Tamthi's just under 900 metres away. She must be pleased to see Jeb. So she's courageous and also partially stupid. Great. I think that's the mun just there. Can we see the mun? I think it is. Yes, there it is. So perfect. Another perfect site for Tamthi. I don't think she wants to go home. Well, we're going home. Come on, let's get in. We're going home. Up a little bit. There we go. Let's bring her up. Whoops. Let's get her to grab on. There we are. Grab. And up we go. Whoops. There we go. And board. There we are. We're in. Tamthi is now officially rescued from her vehicle. Now, while we're here, I've got a few extra science experiments that we can pick up. So there's the solar particle analysis. We have orbital telescope and multi-spectral analysis. So they are in the little storage pods here around the centre of the vehicle. So they're all 100% transmittable. So we will transmit them. Oh, this one, solar particle, is return only, really. 4 points. Let's keep that one. But I'm going to transmit this minty gelatinous sweet. Must get closer observation. We'll transmit that one. There we go. So we will transmit those and then shut up shop as we prepare to return. So let's toggle the imager in and toggle those sensors shut. So they're all ready to go. And whilst they are preparing for their return, we are going to go and rejoin this probe. So let's switch to that probe. And the first thing I think we need to do is rename it. Something like Minmus Scanner 1. Oh, that'll do. So let's just reach in here and rename. So it's not Minmus Rescue. It's Minmus Scanner. Oops, not RCS Scanner. There we go. It is a probe, so we'll leave the probe design. And let's do some scanning while we're here. So let's perform the orbital survey. There we go. Data being transmitted. So we're done. So that has been transmitted back to home base, and we gained 25 science for doing that. Now if we go into map mode and have a look at Minmus, you'll see it is now highlighted with the materials that the scanner has discovered. And here's a list, everything from carbonite, metallic ore. There's the stock ore materials highlighted here in purple. So we can see, where did we land with the Grumpf bug? There we go, there was a little peninsula that was here. And this is where the Grumpf bug landed. And then this is the lakes area, this large lakes area here. So there's plenty of ore in that area, but there's also carbonite in that area. There you can just about see, there was the sort of peninsula that we ran down and then collected some science here. This is where we took off from. So that's the big lakes area, the flats area. So there is carbonite, plenty of metallic ore around this area. Minerals, not so bad minerals. We can get some ore from this area. Substrate, now we're a bit short of substrate, no idea what substrate might be used for. We're going to have to do some research. Uranite and water. Now water seems to be much more up here in the northern hemisphere from this particular scan. So looks like there's lots of opportunities for us to return to Minmus and build ourselves a base. But first things first, we have to get some of our crew home. So let's go back to the rescue vehicle, not Tamthi's wreckage. Let's go back to the rescue vehicle. No, let's see if we can get in. No, what we're going to have to do is switch to Tamthi's wreckage, which should still be very, very close to our lander. There we go. Oh, it's very close. Oh dear, much closer than I thought it was going to be. So we need to get out of here. We need to get out. I think we need to go faster backwards. Go faster backwards in order to meet with Kerbal. Now we've probably missed our opportunity on this orbit, but I'm a bit afraid we're going to be a bit close to Tamthi's wreckage. So let's just get ourselves away from Tamthi's wreckage. I don't want to lose any of these panels. That would not be a good thing. Right, so we need to go faster backwards in order to slow down and get back to Kerbal. So let's put ourselves a maneuver node, let's say we call it here, and go for, oh, much too fast backwards. And go faster backwards. So there we go. So we're going faster backwards. That's not fast enough, methinks. So let's put ourselves in and also keep ourselves going roughly parallel to Minmus's orbit. And that should be bringing in our periapsis. So again, let's go a bit faster backwards. Let's hope we don't have an encounter with the Mun. So we should be good. But I don't think we're going quite parallel enough. So let's bring that orbit round. Now we're still at 4,500 kilometers away. So let's keep burning in this direction. Hopefully we're going to have enough delta V. I only need 166. We've got 577, so we should be okay. So 1.5 million. So let's see if we move the maneuver node. 1.6, 1.7 going the wrong way. 1.2, 1.1, 900. And now we're back onto our next orbit, which brings us back into 1.6. So let's see. Got 10 minutes to get to this maneuver. Coming down. We're going to be coming down with a very northerly approach. I think we're probably... This is probably not optimal. So I think we're going to have to move it back. We're just going to have to be patient. There we go. I think that's a little bit too deep. Minus 200. So let's pull back on the old prograde. So that's 163 kilometers. So we're pretty close. So let's just start using precise node. Where are we? Precise node. There we go. Just to add a little bit. 137, 87. We want to go in at about 20 something. That's too much. So let's go back. So let's right click back in point ones. And there we go, 31, 28. That should be just fine. 195.4, and we have 177 left. So that's perfect. And that's with, funnily enough, that is with our reduced engine thrust. So it's going to be pretty easy, I think. So let's warp around to that maneuver node. Now, I did stock up with plenty of supplies. So we have plenty of supplies to feed our crew. And also some space sickness tablets for Tamthi, because she must be sick of it by now. Oh dear. Right, so we've got 3 minutes and a 6-second burn with our reduced power engine. So let's just turn ourselves around. There we are. We're going to go faster backwards. There we go. Faster backwards. Get ourselves on our manoeuvre. Now we're going to be coming in pretty steep. But it'll give us an opportunity to see Kerbal as we've not seen it before. Very fast. Yes, we've seen that very fast. So we've got 2.5 minutes, so let's use time warp just to speed up a little. Get ourselves down to about 15 seconds or so. So we have our contract almost complete, so let's start burning away. Now with our reduced power engine, it is going to take us a little bit longer to burn off this delta V, but all we have to do, we're pointing in the right direction, is just wait for that to be burnt off. So there we are, coming in. There's our temporary encounter with the Mun, and because we're going quite steeply towards Kerbin, we shouldn't have any problems actually encountering the Mun. So because we're going well underneath its orbit, we should be just fine. So we've got 50 meters per second to go. We go 40. So let's start reducing our throttle and just finish burning off that last little bit. Got 18 to go. Just trickling out the last 3 meters per second. Oh, there we go. I think we're too far beyond it now. Our manoeuvre node is actually around the other side. So let's see. How would... Oh dear. Yes, I think we're certainly going to be coming back. We're definitely coming back. That's a little bit too deep, but we'll worry about that when we get outside of the sphere of influence. So let's just click on the sphere of influence warp to marker. Let's focus on Kerbin. That's now our destination. Let's just warp a little bit further ahead and just leave. There we go. So our periapsis is just going to recalculate. It is, yeah, definitely inside. So I definitely think we need to speed up a little. We're coming back in this direction. So we just speed up a little. Come down in time warp. We might actually be able to manoeuvre. Let's just stabilise our manoeuvre. Now what we can do is we can use these radial markers just to point ourselves away from the surface of Kerbin and just trickle out a tiny amount. Here we go. Periapsis of 6, 7, 10. So we're going to get up to about high 20s. High 20s should be fine. 22, 5. There we go, 29. Perfect, 29. So we're going to be coming in at about 29. So that's into the sort of the top half of the atmosphere, but then we'll aero brake the rest. And that should bring us in to this very highly angled orbit as we return. We'll be coming through on the light side of Kerbin, but obviously Kerbin will have rotated in the meantime, so we'll just have to wait and see where we arrive. So let's time warp around to this part of Kerbin. Just see ourselves coming around our orbit here. Still going relatively slow, so let's escape that time warp and warp again. So let's warp again now that we're well outside of the Minmus sphere of influence. We start speeding in. There we go, time warp has completed. Let's pop out of map mode. We are at 250 meters above the surface. We've got some science we can collect, so let's do all of our science that we can. And we'll even do a quick EVA report. So let's take that. We will keep all of this science. Let's pop back on board. Make sure we are safely on board and clean up all our experiments. Make sure they are all neatly closed away. We wouldn't want to waste any science after the efforts of the previous episode. That's closing up, and toggle those sensors. Now 193, so I think it's about time we started retracting our panels and preparing for return. So let's ignore our further science because we're getting pretty close to the atmosphere now. And as many people have recommended, we really should, let's get rid of that from the staging, we really should get rid of our, there we go, we're just starting to come into the main sphere of influence. I find at about 160, 150 there is a sphere of influence change of an unknown kind. We are moving in quite close now, but let's get rid of our transfer stage well away from the vehicle as we return to the surface. We don't have any landing legs and we don't have enough parachutes to keep it safe, so that is going to have to burn up, I'm afraid. So sorry about that, everyone. Let's see if we can get right in here. Let me do it here and put this transmitter away. Can I get to that? Retract, there we go, retract the transmitter, save as little, well, as little as we can. Save even the little things, seeing as we just got rid of all of that. Oh dear. Well, Tamthi is a lot happier, as is Jeb, to be coming home. We will be home very soon. 3 kilometers a second orbital speed. We're at 88 kilometers up, so very shortly be getting into the top part of the atmosphere. Coming over a rather picturesque green part of Kerbal now. I don't think we've seen this part of Kerbal for a while. Where are we map-wise? We're not going to be coming in anywhere near KSC. KSC is way over here, so we're not going to get much for recovery of our parts. You can see those parts there are going to be lost to us. Probably wouldn't have recovered very much from them this distance from the KSC anyway. But we're in the atmosphere now. Apoapsis is starting to come down, and there are the atmospheric effects proving we are definitely beginning to get some deceleration. The G's will start going up very quickly, very soon, I think. See that beginning to heat up as well. So let's get ourselves an IVA from Tamthi's point of view. There we go, back outside. I did mention we should investigate this gorge at some point, didn't we? So we must have been over this this part of Kerbal before. Orbital speed is coming down. Switch to surface. So we're still doing, what was that, 29, yes, 2,900 meters per second, 28. Doing pretty well. So which camera mode are we in? Orbital mode, chase and auto, there we go, auto mode. Coming back over the savannah here. So where's our other parts? Oh, there we go, there's the other parts, well away from us, 600 metres, so we won't be enjoying their company much longer. Keep ourselves as much on the retrograde marker as we can. The ablator is doing its job. We are down to 184, so I think we'll be fine for the ablator. We've got plenty of supplies left for the arrival of the recovery vehicle. So that should be fine. 25 kilometers up, still descending pretty rapidly. Periapsis is in the planet. We are definitely definitely going to hit the surface. Now this could prove a problem. I suspect we are now going to land somewhere in these low hills. This could prove a serious problem. Oh dear. Oh dear. Right, well let's hope we land in one of these gullies. Somewhere over here and not on a ridge. Just gone under a kilometre a second, so we are now safely inside the atmosphere, and we're just going to be having these white atmospheric effects now. It's still way too dangerous to deploy the parachutes. They're going green. this sort of greenish colour, and then they go a bright green when we are ready to land. I don't really think we've got much of a choice, really. I don't want to land sort of here. Anywhere here should be fine, he says. Oh dear. Crew report. Oh, we can do a crew report. Let's do a crew report. We can do a crew report and recover 100% of the science.